Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I'm so shadowed over here. Okay. It's fine. Go with it. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. My life is totally off schedule. My life is not going to plan, okay? We're gonna do a video on CPE Keyword Transformations. I'm crossing my legs. I haven't done one of these since COVID started, but I have a very loyal subscriber who asked this question. What is the difference between the CPE Keyword Transformations and the CAE Keyword Transformations? She took the CAE and did amazing, I'm sure. And now she's preparing for the CPE. This specific question needs to be answered, and you can look and look and look on the internet, but trust me, there is nowhere where you're gonna find a definite answer, which is why I'm here. So I phoned a friend, a teacher of whom I look up to quite a bit. She's taught Cambridge forever. She is so knowledgeable about this stuff. Content, excuse me. So I asked her and she pretty much confirmed what I thought, which made me feel really good. The grammar you're gonna need to know between the two tests is pretty much the same. It's all hard, it's all advanced. But you can expect to see a more diverse set of collocations, idioms, expressions, and phrasal verbs. So basically vocabulary on the CPE. And that makes sense because the CPE is about as close as you can get to a test that tests the native speaker level in the ESL world. And in fact, I would probably say that the CPE is the hardest ESL test that exists. I mean, you can fight me on that if you want, but it's pretty freaking hard. Like, if the CPE and the TOEFL were real people, the CPE would make the TOEFL shit his pants. Let's be real. So what we're gonna do, ooh, my background noise. So what we're gonna do to make this a little bit more concrete is I'm gonna show you a transformation that's from CPE prep material. Then I'm gonna show you a transformation from CAE prep material. I just wanna show you that these two separate sections on two different tests can be and often are equally difficult, or equally easy if you're a wizard. I mean, I guess it depends. And then after that, I'll give you some resources where you can study all of this type of idiomatic language for the CPE. But honestly, if you did well on the CAE transformations, then you're probably gonna be fine. But of course, you should continue to add and add and add what you can to your already expansive knowledge of vocabulary in English. You can never add enough, you know what I mean? Because they could literally ask you any idiomatic language. Okay, CPE Transformation 1. How hard does it get? It's only hard if you get a collocation or a phrasal verb that you don't already know. You know what I mean? Let's try this CPE transformation. I bet you missed these. Transformation is, I feel completely exhausted when I've listened to Mariel for half an hour. Keyword is leaves, and the sentence to transform is half an hour blank, completely exhausted. Okay, try it and then we'll check. Oh, you thought you were gonna have to do anything for this transformation video? Woo! Sorry about it. Okay, go, good luck. Oh, and the directions are the same as the CAE transformations, but notice for the CPE, you have 3 to 8 words, and for the CAE, you have 3 to 6. But again, I don't really think those extra 2 possible words make the CPE transformations any harder. I mean, if you remember your practice, sometimes you want to be able to use more words anyways, so it really just depends on the transformation. Okay, now go. Are we ready for the answer? Okay. Half an hour of listening to Marianne leaves me feeling completely exhausted. We all have that friend. You know who you are.
I am not gonna say no names.
Okay, let's take this apart a little bit. Half an hour of what? Half an hour of listening to Marianne. I know I'm saying that wrong. If you take a step back Looking at this transformation, you can see the grammar is flipped between the original and the transformation. The clauses are flipped. I feel completely exhausted is in the second clause of the transformation, whereas in the original, it's in the first clause. So that's also really important to start transforming this to recognize. You better recognize. So in the original, feel is the main verb, but our keyword is a verb. So it looks like we're gonna need to use leave as a substitution for feel. But first, let's fill in what we have so far with the listening part. Half an hour of listening to Marion, blank, completely exhausted. And this is where the collocation part comes in. You either know it or you don't. Oh, that was so direct. Sorry. But it's true. You either know it or you don't. Half an hour of listening to Marion leaves me feeling completely exhausted. Now, leaves is our keyword already in present tense, which matches with the original sentence, which is in present tense. So, perfect. And the collocation can really only be described as leaves plus feeling. Here's like a little reference you can look at. Because collocations are so random, I mean, you can just type them in Google and you'll see like examples of them. That can be really helpful. Like here's another example from this page. She was left with the feeling, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's why this transformation is hard, because we literally have thousands of collocations in English. Well, I'm not a mathematician, but we have a lot. And they could ask any one of these. So the more you study, the more prepared you'll be for the CPE. Ugh, this video is so... See, that's the thing about these transformation videos. They're so serious.
Where are the jokes?
All right, finished. Boop. CPE, let's move to CAE. Let's look at a CAE transformation that is just as specific, narrow. We're not gonna say hard because it's not hard if you know the vocabulary. Specific. I'm going to read the transformation, take a second, take a pause, take a chill, and try it. And then we'll go over it. Transformation 4, CAE, is apparently the restaurant in town has been bought out by someone else. The keyword is under, and the sentence to transform, I hear the restaurant in town blank. Go for it. That was weak. Go for it. Much better. Answer is, I hear the restaurant in town is under new management. So it's only 4 words, and grammatically it's really not that hard. But management, the word management, you kind of have to pull out of nowhere. But again, if you've seen this collocation before, under usually new management, under management, then you're gonna be fine. And if you haven't seen it, it's gonna be hard. Okay, I've got you. Okay, just one more, because that was a really short one, but one more at the CAE level. Original sentence, the government recently said our problems are the fault of the worldwide economic slowdown. Keyword is placed, and the sentence to transform, the government have blank the worldwide economic slowdown for our problems. Our last check for the day. Good thing about this one is you can cut a lot of it. Cut out the government, cut out the worldwide economic slowdown for our problems, and you're left with recently, I need to read this, and you're left with recently said our problems are the fault of. Now a little grammar in this one, that have is kind of like a, woo, present perfect. I gotta use the present perfect. And that matches with the word recently in the original sentence. Present perfect is a flexible tense, so something that has happened recently, often we can use the present perfect. But for the main verb, we're gonna use the keyword, placed. The government have placed blank the worldwide economic slowdown for our problems. Here is where you need the vocabulary. A phrasal verb specifically to place blame. The government have placed blame on the worldwide blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's another really specific phrasal verb. If you've seen it, you'll be fine. If you haven't seen it, you're gonna be really confused. So I'm just trying to drive the point home. That's an idiom. You need to study every type of idiomatic language there is for the Cambridge tests. And when it comes to the CPE, the more idiomatic expressions you know, the more prepared you will be for the CPE. Keep your hands in the frame. The more idiomatic language you know, the more prepared you will be for the CPE. Okay, now that we've done our examples, let's come back and reflect. Now I know in our examples, I kind of rushed through these grammatically, but that's because again, between the CAE and the CPE grammatically, I mean, they're gonna ask the same difficult structures. You know, CAE, CPE, they're gonna ask you weird verb patterns, inversion, hard formal passive structures, really specific gerund and infinitive structures. It's gonna be on both, or it could be on both. You could be lucky and have those really easy transformations too. Where the CPE could be harder is Where the CPE could be harder is they could add to those difficult grammatical structures really narrow and specific collocations, idioms, phrasal verbs, expressions. That's about it. I just went through those examples because I wanted you to see that on both, the vocabulary can be equally difficult. If you feel like you did okay on the CAE, then you will probably be okay on the CPE. Okay, pause, next section. Here's another question that you are probably asking yourself. What about the rest of the test? What are the differences and difficulties between the other sections? It varies, it just depends. I don't think the transformation section is really that different, but when it comes to like the productive sections, the writing section, for example, I think the CPE does have a much higher standard for the writing that you produce and give them. For the CPE, like they're really expecting you to be like almost a native speaker. I mean, I think they really expect your writing to be like flawless with just an abundance of great structures, varied vocabulary, all of that. I have had students who passed the CAE who weren't really the best writers, but would they have done as well on the CPE? Okay, and the last thing, how can I study all this vocab you're talking about, Mike? Resource time. My first recommendation, my best recommendation are these books, the Odell McCarthy series. This series is amazing. These two authors have a whole damn series and it's so good. These books are really well structured. You know, they're published by Cambridge, I think Cambridge University Press, Cambridge Press, basically in that same family of, you know, the producers of the test, so you know it's legit. I put a link in the description for, it's an Amazon link to these books. You can find it other places if you want. That's just so you can see the titles, the information you need to get them. You can probably get them from the Amazon in your country, however that works. I looked it up here in Brazil. You can get them here in Brazil, so yay! But I know y'all hoes ain't trying to pay for anything, so free resources are down there too.
Did you hate it?
Of course, you know I was gonna put Flojo in here. You know, they have transformations at both levels, CAE and CPE, so you can get a feel for the differentiation, the difference in between the levels, or the lack thereof sometimes. And then the other links below are links to pages with, you know, collocation practice, phrasal verb practice, phrasal verb lists, whatever. But again, you know, when you study from the general internet, it's not quite as organized, it's not quite as well packaged or easy to study. So you kind of have to do a little more work yourself to, you know, structure your time until the test. Okay, I found this website, it has a bunch of phrasal verbs. I'm gonna do 15 or 20 per week. You know what I mean? Like you have to be very aggressive on your own when you study using just the internet. Whereas the books, you know, the books are nicely structured into units and you could do 1 unit per every couple days or something like that. So I always recommend books. when you take these tests, but it's up to you. Whatever you do, any vocab you add preparing for the CPE is gonna help, okay? Any vocab at all. Okay, I'm done. I'm finished. But I'm glad I could help. And yeah, it sucks. There's like really no information out there on the specific differences between the two tests. I'm glad I could step up to the plate. That's an idiom, look it up. All right guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your support through my move. And if you have a request, I will get to it as soon as I can. Okay, later. Arigatou gozaimasu. Mata ne. Bye.